Man, a couple things that I want to touch. One thing that's been on my heart is the statements that Bernard made, where he'll decide if I'm going to finish or if I should continue boxing after this fight. He don't decide that. My coach does, my team does, everybody that, grinds with me day in and day out, that's who decides, and ultimately God decides, not him. Nobody was telling him when to stop boxing. He stopped boxing at 45, so kudos to him, but he don't determine that. And another thing I want to touch on is, Oscar saying that, we misinterpret, what they say. It's plain English. I didn't hear anybody speaking any language I don't know. So, it's very clear to me that, they're backing this guy to beat me just like they thought Duno was going to beat me. He was the next Filipino star. They saying he's the next Mexican star. And, he also said that, he calls out on the bullshit, the lies. Man, last time I checked, he said he never lose to a white boy, and then Joe Smith Jr. knocked him out of the ring. Last time I checked, Joe Smith Jr. was white. So, they be lying. So at the end of the day, I'll come to show what I bring, and I'm laser focused, and that's where this confidence comes from. Thank God for everything, and all praise to the Most High, Jesus Christ. Thank you.
I said it was all good just a week ago. I try to warn y'all. I try to tell y'all. The tension amounts. The Ryan Garcia, Oscar Duarte press conference was a disaster. You heard Ryan Garcia. He was talking spicy about his promoters, his own promoters. It's not often that you see that in boxing at a press conference. That's what I want to talk about in this video. Let's talk about it. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I am back with some more boxing. Ryan Garcia did his final press conference for his upcoming fight this Saturday with Oscar Duarte. And the boy had to get some things off of his chest. You guys heard it. I'm going to paraphrase. Ryan Garcia truly is not happy with where he's at. Now, I know y'all get mad. You'll be like, why you keep saying, I told you so, Ego? Because I did. I told you so. And y'all didn't want to listen. So I told you this was coming. There were comments made from Bernard Hopkins that were really shocking, considering the fact that that's the current promoter of Ryan Garcia. There was also some legal movement where De La Hoya has Ryan under contract. He feared that Ryan would potentially go elsewhere, so he was trying to sue him for breach of contract. Ryan, tried to say that Golden Boy did something to breach their contract, so he should be a free agent. But then either way, it was decided that they move forth as this partnership, Golden Boy and Ryan Garcia, to put on this Oscar Duarte fight. And it's just been trouble ever since. This is not the first time that this has happened either. And I talked about that in some of my other videos. Ryan Garcia and Oscar De La Hoya have went back and forth. This is more so one of the early times, or the first times that I've seen, where it seems to be Oscar in the background, and then there's a new beef with Bernard Hopkins. But it could also stem from when Ryan Garcia fought Gervonta Davis. Bernard Hopkins touched Tank Davis, so he had limited access at PBC, and neither Oscar nor Bernard Hopkins went to his post-fight presser. And I think Ryan viewed that as like a slight to him, like, okay, so when I'm winning and knocking people out, y'all jumping in the ring, celebrating with me, y'all my promoters, supposed to be my friends, and the first sign of distress, the first loss that I've taken as a pro, you guys cut turf and are nowhere to be found to support me. Meanwhile, Floyd Mayweather got in the ring, and he wasn't managing Gervonta Davis's career at that specific point, right? And he's congratulating Tank, but also consoling and saying job well done to Ryan Garcia, who's also not his fighter. So that's crazy that Floyd Mayweather, who really is not directly working with either Gervonta or Ryan Garcia at the moment, it's crazy that he was the one post-fight at the post-fight presser, because I've been to several fights where Floyd is in attendance. Floyd be dipping out early. I don't know if he going to the girl collection or what, but he don't usually stay till the end, you know, when it's not his fight, when it's other people's fight, because he'll get mobbed by fans and a bunch of people want pictures and or, you know, could be security issues. He got all kinds of jewelry on and diamonds, so he usually makes a fashionable exit early. So the fact that he stayed extra to speak with the main event, you know, it shows volumes in terms of Floyd. Now, I don't know why Golden Boy was there. They gave some kind of crummy excuse. Oscar said he feared his safety. Bernard Hopkins said he was blocked, but the fight was over. Why would they block? Why would PBC block B-Hop from going to a post-fight presser? You know, that doesn't really make sense to me. So for whatever reason they didn't show up, this relationship has definitely soured. And that's what we got at this final press conference. And to be honest, this is a bad look. Imagine being Golden Boy Promotions and you're trying to attract new fighters and new talent, and your biggest superstar is beefing with you. And they have a history of this because Canelo Alvarez, payday, you want payday, I know that. Canelo Alvarez left Golden Boy. So what is Golden Boy doing with their fighters to the point where they're making their superstars this angry and like outspoken? Canelo is now speaking out on Golden Boy. He was on the Breakfast Club. They said, hey, if you had an upcoming fighter, Charlemagne asked Canelo this to his face. If you had an upcoming fighter, would you sign them? Would you tell him to sign the Golden Boy? Canelo immediately says no. So Canelo is a star that left, and I don't think it takes a rocket scientist. I think Stevie Wonder, ribbon in sky, you know, Stevie Wonder could see that at the end of the day, Ryan Garcia likely won't be with Golden Boy to finish his career, right? I don't know where he'll go. Maybe he signs with Floyd or PBC or something, but it looks like this relationship is to a point where I don't know if it's beyond repair. Like, not saying they can at some point let bygones be bygones, but it's just, it looks pretty fractured, to be honest. And it may be irreconcilable differences where they just have to go their separate ways no matter what. So Ryan Garcia kind of exposed Golden Boy. He says Bernard Hopkins, he says they be lying. I mean, that's just a bad look. It's very disastrous. You're promoting the main event. The main event is clearly mad and taking shots. And then B-Hop got on the podium. He's kind of taking shots at Ryan. B-Hop says something to the effect of, you know, I've been in boxing for 28 years, so I should have some credibility. And one thing I will say is boxing will call your bluff. And then he looks over directly at Ryan Garcia after he says that. So it's clear that these guys are taking shots at each other. The other thing that was hilarious to me, but disastrous for them, is when Ryan Garcia was talking spicy, like you seen at the beginning, Oscar De La Hoya was losing it because he knows this is embarrassing to have a press conference, final press conference, and instead of it being about the actual fight with Ryan and Oscar Duarte, it's about like beef and taking shots. And Ryan's like, Bernard Hopkins, they be lying. You know, Golden Boy, they be lying. B-Hop said he'll never lose to a white boy. Last time I checked, he got knocked out the ring by a white boy, Joe Smith Jr. So that was a nice little dig at Bernard Hopkins. And Oscar, you just look at his facial expressions while this is happening, and he's like shaking his head because it's like he can't understand or believe the gall of Ryan Garcia to get on stage and say this. I don't think he expected Ryan Garcia to say these things, but, you know, the cat's out the bag. So this relationship looks foobar. And if you don't know what foobar is, type it in Google. But it looks foobar. And guess who predicted this? Your boy Ego, the great Ego Stradamus. I told you. I made the videos are still up, so it's not like I gotta change anything. The videos are post-dated, they're up. When Bernard Hopkins made that recent comment and he says, I gotta see how Ryan looks, and then I'll decide if he should keep boxing. And I was like, what is he talking about? That's a weird statement to make. What do you mean? Like, he need to retire if he lose? Like, that's just not something you typically see from your promoter. And obviously Ryan Garcia felt the same way because that's how he opened up his statement. He took a big sigh and he says, I got to get a lot of stuff off my chest. You know, Bernard Hopkins talking his talk about he'll decide. He don't get to decide. my dad, my father, my team, you know, my people, they're the ones that decide where I'm at in my career and what the next move is, not Bernard Hopkins. So it just was a bad look for Golden Boy. You never see this. And Oscar is always taking shots at Al Heyman and saying Al Heyman's this and Al Heyman this and stole my fighters and this and that. But guess what? Al Heyman dudes aren't doing this to Al Heyman. Getting on the mic, they're getting on the mic and saying, like Vito Milnicki, he's like just fighting again. He just fought. And he's like, thank you, Al Heyman. He just made a post about it, right? So they're thanking Al Heyman, and Ryan Garcia is taking shots at his own promoters. And finally, Ryan Garcia believes that, like, almost like a conspiracy, like they're pulling for Oscar Duarte to beat him. And that's also not good when the superstar feels like you're trying to set them up. Ryan Garcia literally said that. He said they want him to win just like they wanted a Filipino superstar, Romero Duno, to beat me, you know? So he feels that his own support system doesn't really support him, and they want him to secretly lose, and they're tired of the headache or whatever. So that's just a lot of drama, a lot of tension, and that's definitely not a good look for your business, you know? Goes without saying. But that's my thoughts. Let me know what you guys think. I am the best in the business, and it's not even close. Subscribe for all your boxing needs, and I'm out.